Ladies and people who think that life is all about ranking yourself and other people. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet and guy with a world-class bullshit detector. This is the Kill Your Inner Loser show. Let's fucking go, baby. So, we're going to talk about the concept of leagues and she's out of my league. This is something that guys will say, I've heard this a million times, right? I can't hit on that chick. She's out of my league. There's no point with this chick over here. I'm just going to fuck it up. She's too good for me. She's out of my league. She's too good for me. All that kind of bullshit. And I want to hit you guys with a concept right off the bat. Some girls will say yes to you just because you asked. Literally, some girls will sleep with you because you bothered to ask. Not because you were the hottest guy that she's ever met or you were a super fucking rich businessman who travels the world and does cool shit, or because you were the most interesting person she ever met, or because your conversation skills and your confidence was just through the roof. No. Some chicks will meet you because you bothered to fucking ask. Not because you were Mr. Right, but because you were Mr. Right there at that point in time. I've lost count of the number of women that have fucked me and then said, and they'll always phrase it in a nice way. They'll phrase it like this: "You're not the kind of guy I usually date." And you say, like, what is that supposed to mean? What does that mean? Like, come on, like, what is, what do you date? Like, who? What? And they'll gently say, well, just like, and that you have to pry it out of them. And they'll eventually say, normally I date guys that are hotter than you, or richer than you, or older than you, like whatever it is, what kind of guy she goes for. I've had that happen so many times. And I'll say, why did you sleep with me then? And she'll say, I don't know, because you seem nice. And basically because you fucking asked. Because she was horny that weekend, or she was lonely, or you just happened to be there and she thought you were cool enough. And she's like, yeah, sure, fine. Let's go on a date. Fine. And she just kind of went with the flow. Another thing I'm going to hit you guys with is when you say she's out of my league, or there's no point, she wouldn't sleep with a guy like me, she wouldn't date a guy like me, whatever it is. How the fuck do you know she's out of your league? Like, you haven't even tried yet. How the fuck do you know? You have literally, look, you're at the start. It's like you're about to start a fucking marathon or something. And you go, I'm not going to do the marathon. I'll just fuck it up. I'll fail. I won't be able to finish it. How do you know? You haven't started. At least start and get halfway through the marathon and then say, I can't finish this. I'm tired. Fine. That would be reasonable. Even then, you could still keep going. But fine, that's more reasonable. But you haven't even fucking tried talking to this girl. And don't hit me with that bullshit of like, well, I've hit on other girls and they rejected me. That's not this girl. This is a numbers game. Some girls aren't available no matter what you do. Some girls won't date you or sleep with you no matter what you do, no matter how perfect you are, no matter how hard you try, no matter how confident, no matter how sick your game. Some girls just aren't available or aren't interested in sleeping with you. That doesn't mean the girl next to her isn't interested, or the girl after that. Go talk to 100 girls and come back and tell me you can't get laid. Go talk to 1,000 and tell me you can't get laid. Some girls will sleep with you because you asked. Another thing to think is, if you're watching this video, it's highly likely you're a fucking newbie when it comes to getting laid, when it comes to dating, right? You probably don't know what you're talking about. By definition, you wouldn't be watching this self-improvement content if you were already out there getting laid, if you had a girlfriend and you were happy, would you? If you were still working on this stuff, you wouldn't. You're only watching this because you're still working on this stuff. So by definition, you're a newbie. So how the fuck do you know if a girl is out of your league? Listen to the person who does know. Hey, that's me. Don't sit there and go, oh, she's out of my league. You don't fucking know. You're a dumb newbie. A big part of self-improvement, and I'm trying not to be an asshole when I say you're a dumb newbie, but a big part of self-improvement is having the humility to drop your ego and say, okay, I'm going to admit there's a lot of stuff I don't know, or there's a lot of stuff that I'm not experienced with. Maybe it's not even like a lack of knowledge sometimes. It's just a lack of experience. And so if I'm lacking in experience or knowledge, maybe I can't say this girl is out of my league. How do I know? I might be wrong. The number of times I've had a guy tell me he can't get laid, or that girl is too cute for him, or whatever it is. No girls on Tinder will like me, so I shouldn't try. The number of times I've forced that guy or pushed that guy to try, and then he gets laid. I'm going to tell you a story at the end of the podcast, so I'm going to save it, but basically a guy who hadn't gotten laid in like 3 years, got laid within like 5 days of actually trying. I'll tell that story at the end of the podcast, so listen out for that. But the number of times I've had someone say, she's out of my league, or all girls are out of my league, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not ready yet, now's not the right time, whatever bullshit they want to say, and then they go and get laid like fucking immediately. I've lost count at this point. So you're a newbie. Trust the process. trust that you don't really know what you're talking about if you're at the beginner or intermediate stages. You don't know if a girl is out of your league. You haven't tried. You also have to admit or be cognizant of the fact that you probably have a harsh opinion of yourself. We're all self-critical. All of us are going to be a lot more critical with ourselves than someone else will be. So you're not as low down on the totem pole as you think. You might sit there and think, oh, I'm just, I'm ugly. No girl will date me. You're probably just being harsh on yourself. Most guys are harsh on themselves. Yes, every now and then you'll get someone with a big fucking inflated ego, but that's the minority. The vast majority of guys think they're a lot less capable of meeting women than they actually are. You think you're all the way down here. Most of the time, you're average or above average. An average or above average is more than enough to get some fucking girls, okay? Please don't think you have to be some sort of god. I'm not. I certainly wasn't when I started this shit. You don't have to have your shit fully together. Yes, you're working on it. Yes, you're improving. Yes, you're improving your looks, your style, going to the gym, losing weight, all that good shit, your confidence, getting more friends, becoming a more well-rounded man. But don't think that you have to get to a fucking 8 before you can sleep with any women or cute women. No. You can start like right fucking now. I also want to tell you guys that you get bonus points for just trying, especially if we're talking about going outside, going out, talking to women in person, hitting on them. You get so many bonus points for doing that. I mean, you do on Tinder as well if you're decisive, straight to the point, concise. If you just like take the lead and say like, hey, you're cute, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to go grab a drink? Give me a number. If you're just confident enough to take the lead and you don't sit around wasting time talking for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, wasting fucking time, especially in person, you get bonus points for that. Girls will literally tell you that you're confident. They'll tell you like, I'm impressed, or I like how to the point you are. I like that you don't waste time. You seem confident. I like that you take the lead. I like that you know what you're doing, that you have a game plan. I like that. You get bonus points for that. So you're sitting there worried about like, oh, but she's out of my league. I'm not good enough. You're forgetting that to her, if you just do the basics that we talk about, which is, like I said, don't waste too much time. Don't sit there for 3 weeks texting her. Message her straight to the fucking point. Hey, you're cute. Give me a number. Hey, let's go grab a drink. How's Friday, 6 p.m.? If you just do that, you look really fucking confident. You look like a guy with options. She assumes, even if it's not true, she assumes you're probably sleeping with other women, or that you could if you wanted to. And so you get bonus points for confidence, even if you're not confident. One of my coaching clients in person, a guy I just finished coaching with, he just finished his coaching. The first couple of times I took him out in person, he was like, let's phrase it nicely. He was not very confident. Let's phrase it like that. He didn't do the best job. But it doesn't matter if you do a good job at the start. You're just trying to get some practice in. So, that doesn't matter. But he was so unconfident and hopeless and just a mess. And like within the first, I think, like 10 or 15 phone numbers that he got, he had to do a fair bit of approaches for that. But within the first like 10 or 15 approaches, first 10 or 15 numbers, like 3 or 4 of the girls said, you're so confident. Like, I'm so impressed by how confident you are. And he's a very honest guy. Obviously, I push honesty, but he's an honest guy. And he texted the back and said, like, I'm not confident. I was like shitting my pants when I talked to you. And all of them said, either I don't believe that, or you could have fooled me, or I'm really surprised to hear that, or no way. You seem really confident. So the fact that you are walking up to women in the street gets you bonus points. The fact that on Tinder, you're being straight to the point, saying, hey, you're really cute, you're sexy, can I get your phone number? Let's go grab a drink. Being to the point gets you bonus points. So yes, you might in your mind be thinking, she's out of my league. She's way too hot for me. She's way too cool for me, whatever. She's looking at you and going like, wow, he's really fucking confident. You get bonus points for that. The problem with leagues and guys saying like, she's out of my league, is you're looking at one metric. You're only looking at looks, at appearance. You're going, she's hotter than me. You're ignoring all the other shit. Confidence, being straight to the point, other shit that you might have to offer. Maybe you fucking look like you have some money. Maybe you dress really well. Maybe you have a bunch of friends and she thinks you're really cool and you're social. Maybe just the fact that you were there at that moment in time and you hit on her, which is more than 99.9% of guys out on the street will ever fucking do. She thinks like, wow, he's better than 99.9% of guys on the street. Yeah, he's not as attractive as some of the hot guys that I've been with, but what do I give a shit? He's more confident than them. A lot of you forget that the average guy doesn't have the balls to do this shit. Even hot guys, by the way. And so girls, fucking start talking to some girls and ask them. Almost every girl that I've ever talked to has a history of guys that she had a crush on or found really attractive that were either too pussy to make a move, too scared to make a move, or they would make a move and it was just like half-assed and pathetic. And so if you come charging in there and just go like, yo, hey, you're sexy, you're cute, what's up? Like, you get bonus points for that. While she's sitting there frustrated that the hot guy is not hitting on her, you get bonus points that she goes, well, this guy isn't as hot, but like, holy fuck, at least he has the balls. Another thing I want you guys to remember is that people date up or date down all the time. All the time. Go look on the street. You will find some people. You don't need to find 10 million exceptions, but if you can find one fucking exception to like, we have to be in the same league, if you can find one exception, you can be that exception. Go out on the street. You will find some people where there's a hot girl and just like an average guy. Or you will find a really tall girl with a shorter guy. I see that probably fucking once every 3 days. I'll see a girl that's like way taller than a guy. Yes, it's rare, but if you can find any, then you can be that exception. People do date up and down. Why don't you be that guy? If you think she's so hot and you think, oh, she's dating down to date me, which is a terrible fucking way of framing it, but fine, use that metric. She's going to date me and I'm less attractive. Go and be that person. Again, if one person on the street can do it, if you can find one exception, you can be that exception. Another thing to think when you hit on a girl and you're that confident, like I sort of touched on it before, there's a part of them that thinks like he's probably doing this with other women, even if he's not that attractive, even if he's not super confident. You don't even have to be super confident. He's confident enough to hit on me. He's probably hitting on other girls. I can't be the only girl he's ever hit on. That would be that's probably not going to happen. So he probably doesn't need me. Like, yes, he wants to sleep with me, but he can just go and talk to 100 other women. Like, he probably doesn't need me. That in itself is attractive. That's abundance mentality. The fact that you have other options is attractive to women. It means you're not going to be needy. You're not going to be an over-the-top nice guy. You're not going to simp hard. You're not going to be annoying. You're not going to be clingy. You're not going to be desperate. And so the fact that it's very clear that you're probably doing this with other women, that's attractive in itself. So go out there. Like I said, if you hit on 100 women, one of them's probably going to say yes. If you hit on 1,000, several of them will say yes. You don't have to stress so much about like, I got to be perfect. I got to be ultra confident. I got to be ultra attractive. Yes, self-improvement matters. Yes, looking good makes it easier. Yes, looking hot makes it 10 times easier. Yes, being confident makes it easier. All of that shit applies, yes. But please don't put it off into the distance and say, I have to get ridiculously attractive. I have to be a god. I have to be super confident. I have to have done this and be perfect at it and be smooth and all of that shit, and then I can hit on hot chicks. No. Start now. Start now, please. The answer is to take a leap of faith, hit on some chicks, regardless of if they're out of your league or not. Like, stop thinking in terms of leagues. Do you know what is low value? We're talking about value here. When you say she's out of my league, you're saying my value is lower than hers. Do you know what's low value? Sitting there and fucking evaluating yourself. Do people who are high value sit there and go, I'm a 6 out of 10, I'm a 7 out of 10, I'm an 8? Have you ever heard me sit here and go like, well, I think I'm about a 6.7 or I'm a 9.2, I'm an 8. Like, no. Why the fuck would I ever do that? People who have some value to give or who are of value don't sit there evaluating themselves. And it's extremely unattractive if in your mind you're going, I'm a 6 and she's an 8. And I'm going to give you something that's going to fucking blow your mind. She can tell that that's what you think. And you're going to go, no, she can't read my mind. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as good an actor as you think you are. You're not good at hiding this. People pick up on your vibe. Someone can fucking tell if you don't think you deserve to be talking to them because you talk differently. You act differently. You're less confident. You're almost more like pathetic and weaselly and like you almost have, you can go into this mindset of like, she's not going to date me anyway, so why should I try? And so then you just look like you don't try. Or I see guys do this, they go the other way and they go, all right, in order to fuck hot chicks, I have to neg them. I have to pull them down a bunch. I have to give them little insults. I have to take down their self-esteem. I've got to do some negs. I've got to treat them mean to keep them keen. It's like, do you know how fucking insecure that comes across? You literally come across as a low value person. Someone who's up here doesn't demean and belittle people. They lift them up. If you're up here, you don't need to insult anyone. Why the fuck would you ever want to? You want to pick them up and lift them up. And if they don't want to sleep with you, you'll go, that's fine. You don't have to sleep with me. I've got other options. I don't mind if you don't sleep with whoever you want. I'm not personally offended by you not sleeping with me. So it's so low value to sit there and think she's out of my league. That's low value. You're almost confirming the thing you're scared of. You're scared that she's out of your league. Congratulations. You're making it come true by obsessing about that. It's not attractive. You don't fuck people by going, she's better than me. Is that attractive? Is that attractive? No, it's fucking unattractive. So keep that in mind. Another thing I'll say, and this comes from Good Looking Loser, he wrote this really great article called She's Already Fucked a Guy Who's Uglier Than You. Go and read that article. She's already fucked a guy who's uglier than you. The title kind of says it all, but a lot of girls have slept with a guy that just randomly asked that was less attractive than you. And she slept with him because he caught her at the right moment, or, the stars aligned, or he asked and she said yes. Like, it was just the right moment in time. She was lonely. The ultra fucking attractive Chad alpha male, big dick fucking muscle god that she actually wanted to fuck was not available. And she was frustrated and lonely. And this guy came along and said, like, hey, you're cute. Would you like to grab a drink? And she goes, yeah, okay. And he fucked her. He stuck his dick in her. He dated her. People fucking get married doing that. They're lusting after some other guy, but this guy comes along and actually has the balls to make a move. And she goes, well, I'm going to pine for this guy, but this guy, fine, I'll give him a date. And guess what? She likes him even better. She fucks his brains out. He fucks her fucking pussy with his ugly dick. And you're sitting there going like, well, I can't do that because she's just going to fuck every alpha male Chad and that's not me and I can't be that. No, that's such a fucking limiting belief. She's fucked a guy uglier than you because he asked. You can be that person. And that's the beauty of the numbers game. Go and ask 100 girls and a couple of them will be available at that point in time. They will be that girl who's like, well, yeah, I'm just going to say yes because he asked me. Or I like his fucking confidence. I like the fact that he had the balls. Yeah, I've been waiting for a confident guy. That's another thing to think. There are a ton of girls out there who who desire a man that will take the lead. They're submissive or they're feminine or they're in touch with that side of themselves and they want a guy that will take the lead, that will have confidence, that will have the balls. You come charging in and go, hey, you're cute. Can I get your number? And she's like, whoa, this is fucking what I've been waiting for. I'm sick of all these hot guys or these other guys that just don't make a move because they're not confident. Fuck yes, I will date you. Fuck yes, please. This is what I've wanted. This is what I've wanted. Especially when you get into something like the BDSM community. I'm big on BDSM. I do a bunch of shit. When you start exploring that more, you will meet girls that will tell you stories of like they've dated or slept with or, long-term relationship with guys that are not fucking attractive at all. Like fat, old, bald, really unattractive guys. But why did they date these guys for long periods of time and be super submissive to them and do filthy fucking shit? Whatever the guys wanted, they would do it for years. Why? Because the guy had the energy or the vibe that they were looking for. He was super fucking dominant. He was super confident. He didn't take any shit. He refused to let a woman walk all over him. He just said, this is what I fucking want. You're going to do this. Be a good girl for me. He had that dominant kind of energy. And so infinitely less attractive than you, but he's out there fucking really hot, submissive girls, by the way. Really hot girls. These are hot like girls that I've slept with. Really hot fucking girls. Why? Because he had the right energy. He had the right vibe. He had what they were looking for. He had the balls to fucking make a move instead of all the guys who just don't make a move. So I'm not giving you permission there to be fat and ugly and bald. No, like work on yourself. That makes this shit a million times easier, of course. But please don't think that you can't fuck hot girls if you aren't a fucking 9 out of 10. You don't have to be that. I also want to make it clear that you don't have to fully overcome this mental hurdle of like, what I mean is you don't have to let go of this notion of like, oh, but she's out of my league. You can literally think that she's out of your league. Yes, I'd prefer you didn't. That's what this podcast is for. But you can even believe that you're not capable of fucking a girl as long as you still make a move and still ask her out and still at least try and play the numbers game and hit on a bunch of girls and do this a bunch of times. The whole time you can believe that like, yeah, she's too good for me. And you will accidentally fuck a couple of those girls. You will. As long as you're taking action and asking for numbers and doing the right things and improving yourself and all of that. For the longest time, I didn't believe that I deserved to fuck like the first, I will say the first 10 girls that I slept with. Sorry, the first like 10 or so girls that I hit on, I was like, there's no fucking way that That was a terrible. Let's start the whole fucking sentence again. The first 10 or so girls that I slept with, I didn't believe that I deserved to sleep with them. I didn't think I deserved to get laid, but I still did. Why? Because I tried. Yes, it would have been easier if I could let go of that, and I eventually did, obviously. That's what this podcast is here for, to help you let go of this idea of like notion, this notion of leagues and shit like that. But I didn't believe that I deserved to get laid. For the first like 10 or so girls that I fucked, I really didn't think I deserved that. It didn't matter. You think I thought I deserved to have like threesomes and crazy shit like that? Fuck no. But I did the actions. It happened. Congratulations. So you will accidentally fuck some girls if you're taking action and doing all the things we talk about, improving yourself, improving your looks, going to the gym, losing weight, playing the numbers game, hitting on a bunch of girls, going on Tinder, going outside and talking to women, you'll accidentally get laid because you asked a couple of girls who were just available at that moment in time and no one else had asked them. They were sitting there waiting to say yes to someone, and you were the guy who happened to show up. That's why the numbers game is so fucking beautiful. Go out and talk to 1,000 women. A bunch of them will say yes, and they will fuck you. Don't sit there and go, she's out of my league. You're confirming that she's out of your league. She is out of your league if you don't try. You will fail. You cannot fuck a girl if you don't hit on her. So if you sit there and say she's out of my league, yeah, now she is. It's guaranteed she's out of your league. You're not even in the league. There is no league that you're in if you don't hit on her, on women. You're literally not in any league. So yeah, you'll lose by default. The final thing I want to hit you with, or the second final thing I want to hit you with, is I wrote an article on my website called I Am Always Full of Doubt, reinforcing some of the stuff I've said here. I've always had doubts. I've always been insecure. I've always thought like, I can't fuck this girl. I can't make money. I wouldn't have anyone on my YouTube. No one would listen to my podcast. No one will pay me for coaching. I won't be able to change anyone's life. I won't ever get a happy relationship. I always thought all those things. Like I've had so many doubts in my life, but the one thing that I've done is still take action. I've heard the doubts. I've listened to them. I've even believed them some of the time. Like, yeah, I probably won't be successful. I probably won't get laid. I've believed those thoughts, but then I've gone, yeah, but what else am I going to do with my time? I may as well try because at least I'm doing something with my time. What else am I going to do? Sit on the couch and do nothing? Like, that's boring. So I may as well try and talk to women. And then I've accidentally reached most of my goals by just trying. So please don't think that you have to fully internalize everything I've said here to you today. You don't have to believe that you can do this shit, but you do have to take action. You have to try anyway, even if you think it's not gonna work out. I want to leave you with an example, with a final little story. One of the guys in my group coaching program, he's in there right now, although by the time most of you listen to this podcast, he would have finished. Absolute legend of a human being. I won't tell his full backstory because I want to see if I can get him. I'm pretty sure he'll come on. I'll get him to come on the podcast and talk about it. But basically, this was a guy who was utterly convinced that he didn't deserve to get laid, right? I won't tell you the whole backstory, but, for a bunch of reasons, didn't think that he deserved to get laid. And it had been like 3 years since he got laid. All this shit. He'd gained a bunch of weight, lost like 200 pounds. Again, I'll get him on the podcast because his story is amazing. Lost 200 pounds, still has a bit of weight to lose. And he was convinced, or he is convinced, that he doesn't deserve to get laid at all. And so for the longest time, he was fighting me on our coaching calls. Not actively fighting, but I would say, go outside and talk to women. And he struggled to do that. He was still taking the action, but he struggled to let himself talk to women because he thought all women were out of his league. He didn't want to go on Tinder for the same reason. Well, I won't get any matches. They're all out of my league. And so for weeks and weeks and weeks, we worked on his self-esteem. I kept pushing him. And finally, he got to a point where he said, all right, I think I'm going to try. I don't think it'll work. I don't think I'll get laid. I don't think women will talk to me. I don't even think they'll be nice to me, but I'll try. He went out. He did some approaches in person. He went on Tinder. I shit you not. I'm going to get him on the podcast because I think it's more believable if he fucking says it rather than me. I think it was within the first day of signing up for Tinder, he got a match. He had a date set up within a day. And then he went on the date the next day or something. So within a day or two, he's on a fucking date with a chick. They have a nice date. He takes her back to his place. He kisses her. He was too shit scared to do anything else. Fair enough. He hadn't had sex in 3 years. He had all these self-esteem issues and all that shit. But he made out with her within 1 or 2 days of going on Tinder. Within 1 or 2 days of actually trying, he made out with a chick. Then I think it was 5 days later, or a couple of days later, he gets the chick back to his place and they have sex. Guy who hasn't had sex in 3 years, who still has a ton of weight to lose, who had lost 200 pounds, all this kind of shit, all these self-esteem issues, all of these ideas of like, she's out of my league, this girl and all the other girls won't fuck me, they won't even be nice to me, I don't deserve this. He got laid. And, I said to him, the reason you got laid with this chick is because you actually tried. She was available at that time. You happened to be there. She said yes. It's not because you're the hottest guy she could sleep with. You're not. It's not because you're the most confident. You have no confidence. It's not because you're smooth or you know what you're doing. You have no fucking clue. It's not because you're good in bed. You're not. It's not because you have a ton of money. You don't. It's literally just because you tried. You happened to be there at that point in time and you tried. Since then, he's been on another date with another chick. He's got 2 more dates coming up this week. I'm sure by the time I interview him, he'll be saying shit like, oh, I got laid like 5 times now. Like, that's not going to surprise me. He still has like 6 or so weeks left in my coaching program. I'm pretty sure he's going to get laid a ton more because he's trying. He's actually fucking trying. And this guy is not the most attractive guy. He's not where he needs to be. He's got like 30 or 40 pounds to lose. He's got a ton of weight left to lose. He's got a very chubby face. But he's trying. He's actually fucking trying. And some of these girls will say yes. So please don't think that you have to be perfect, that she has to be in your league. That concept is just an excuse or a limiting belief to stop you from going out there and doing something scary. And it was scary for this guy. He tried, like I said, for like 5 or 6 weeks of coaching of me trying to make him feel better. Long fucking 3 or 4 hour calls of me pouring my heart and soul into trying to convince him that he deserved to do this shit. It took so much fucking effort, so much fucking shit he had to overcome. He's been to several counselors, all this kind of shit. And finally, he gave himself permission to try, even when he was convinced it wasn't going to work, and it did work. So please don't think you have to be perfect. Please go out there and play the numbers game. Please talk to some girls. Even if you think they're out of your league, you're probably wrong. I promise you, you're probably wrong. And as always, go out there. You know what to do. Crush those goals.